Hi everyone. Great, I can see you logging in, so I assume you're all here for practice. Or maybe you're just passing by. Like I said yesterday, I don't have my lovely model this evening, who is upstairs actually also doing an online class for his clients. If my music is coming kind of awkwardly over the line, can a few of you just comment and let me know if it's disturbing you, if you prefer to have your own music? And the reason I have mine on is because I'm going to do the practice with you this evening. So let me know if my music's super annoying and I will change it or turn it off. Okay, no one seems to be commenting, so I think I'll leave it. Right, so grab all your bits. Actually, I'm paranoid now, so I'll turn it off just in case. Grab all your yin bits, whether that's pillows, blankets. Make sure you're wearing something very comfortable. Light your candles. Burn your Palo Santo or your incense or whatever it is you have around. Get your favorite playlist on. And then get comfortable on your mat. So you won't need even to see me for most of this practice, as long as you can hear me. If you're on a wooden floor, a tile floor like I am, it might be nice to pad the floor up with an extra mat or a blanket or some pillows. And then come into child's pose. Take the knees as wide as the mat, toes together behind you. And then extend the arms out in front and bring the forehead to the floor. And let the arms be completely heavy on the earth. The head be completely heavy. Feeling a third eye connection to the floor, the space between the eyebrows. Allowing the tension, the attention, rest on the breath. And before I myself come into child's pose to join you, if anyone is newer to Yin Yoga and maybe hasn't done a Yin practice before, I mean, no time like the present to start a yoga practice with all this time we have. It's a little bit different than what you might think of yoga, inverted commas. We do all of our practice on the floor. We use a lot of props. In the studio, it might be bolsters or blocks. Here, pillows, blankets, more pillows. An advantage of a home practice is you can make it as comfortable, as cozy, have all your nice things. You don't have to share the props with anyone, and you can take up more space than your mat. We move super slowly, with intention, and we hold the poses for far longer than we would in a regular yang practice. And a yang practice being any practice that's heat building, fast moving, energetic. And our yin practice is more slow, deep, cooling, quiet. A more introverted energy, which is interesting in this time because we've all been forced to draw inwards. But even as we draw inwards, there's been a huge movement, and maybe it's just the people that I follow, to be so productive, and I include myself in this. To do online HIIT classes, vinyasa classes, go out for your 2-kilometer walks, clean the house, sort the closet. So even when we have this forced yin energy on us, and forced and yin don't really go hand to hand in a sentence, but you know what I mean, we're still doing our very best to live our yang lifestyle. And I really felt a shift in my energy today. I just felt super wiped, no motivation, and before I logged on here, I had started The Bachelor on RTE Player, and I really did not want to stop and come and do this. Which means it's probably exactly what I need. So you've been in your child's pose for a little bit of time, so I'm probably not going to join you here and keep you here forever. But I'll ask you to walk the hands back towards the knees. And then swing the legs round. Move whatever props you have out to the side and just come to lay flat on your back. Head is heavy, and then let the toes flop out to the side, palms face up. Backs of the hands rest on the floor. And this is called our rebound pose. And we'll take this pose between each asana, between each posture, allowing to reset the energy that we've shifted during the pose, and also an opportunity to feel into the body, the prana, the energy, the life force. Any subtle movements. Take a full breath in together and a long breath out. Okay, I'm actually going to join you this time for my fave posture, sleeping swan. So between the poses, move as mindfully as you can, coming on up into a kneeling pose, grabbing hold of your props if you think you'll need them. And then either coming from all fours or from a very gentle down dog, we'll start with the left knee, draw it behind the left wrist towards the left hand side of the mat, and then the foot goes over towards the right hand side. The shin is on the floor, similar to pigeon pose. The back leg, walk it out behind you and then back of the foot on the floor. If the left bum is quite high off the mat, a pillow can be nice, or roll a blanket up underneath for a bit of support. You can also have pillow out in front, or you can have one on each. And then let the upper body melt over either the prop, if you're using one, or the earth. Now, as you come down, notice where it is you feel the opening in the body. Is it along the left glute, down the side of the left leg, the upper thigh? Maybe a little bit into the hamstring? Or is there any pain in the knee? Or do you feel, which I am at the moment, a stopping or a stuck compression feeling in the left hip crease, the bony part of the hip? If so, or if you feel it in the knee you might need to come onto your back and take a reclined pigeon. Otherwise, you'll have a play and only you'll know exactly where it is you're feeling the pose. So you might move the upper leg or even the lower leg to a different angle. You might move the upper body to a different angle. And then when you find that nice opening through the bum muscle, the back or side of the hip, then find your pose, settle down, close down the eyes, and then let go of any tension through the face, the shoulders, the hips. Allow the attention to rest back on the breath. Noticing the natural breath cycle, the rhythm. And then committing to yourself to stay still. What can happen during a yin practice is the mind will want to move a lot sooner than the body actually needs to. Getting agitated, distracted, bored. So we start to fidget, to adjust props. Can you acknowledge if you are doing so and then commit to a stillness, a softness, and a surrender into the pose. And if you feel like we've been here forever, we have a little while longer. Notice how the mind is doing if it's begun to drift. Acknowledging any feelings, emotions that have bubbled up to the surface. Take a deep breath in, long breath out, and then slowly peel the heart up. And then come to lay onto your back in that rebound pose. Slide the props out of the way. Backs of the hands rest on the floor and then toes flop out to the side. Notice if there's a difference between the right and left side of the body. And if there is, what is it? How does it feel? Take a deep breath in, long breath out. It can be nice to hug the knees to the chest and gently massage out the lower back by swaying or rocking the knees from side to side. Then we'll come into sleeping swan on the other side. So you can roll to the side or rock straight on up. And be mindful that what you might have needed prop-wise or shape-wise on one side might be a little different on the other. Most of our pelvises, so most of us, our pelvis rather than our pelvises, because we only have one, are not perfectly symmetrical on either side. So what might work for one side isn't necessarily what you're going to need on the second side. So right knee towards the right hand side of the mat, foot towards the left. And then walk the back leg out behind you. And then for the first breath or two or three, find that target area, which is the right glute, so the bum muscle, the meaty part of the bum, and not the right hip crease. And once you've found that, and you might be on your back, or you might have a ton of props or none, find the pose, melt down onto your prop or onto the floor. I'm laughing because I did a workout yesterday and I need a few more props today. Notice if any tension has drifted up into the face, the shoulders. And allow each exhale carry that tension from the body. you soften a little deeper into the pose? If the mind started to drift, can you bring it back to the breath? Take a full breath in and a long breath out. And then make your way into rebound. Slide bolsters or pillows out of the way. And then come to lay onto your back. Take any little movements you want to make. Knees to chest can feel quite nice, massaging out the lower back. And then we'll meet up on all fours. Just gonna grab a book or two because I want some block equivalents. If you have a blanket or a thin pillow or your jumper, whatever you need to use, so you can roll your mat up, you'll want this to cushion the back knee. So I'll start with the left leg forward once again. So the cushion will come over the right knee. The blocks will be towards the front of the mat. So we step the left foot forward underneath the left knee to start, though it might not stay there, for dragon pose. The right hand, yin brain already, will rest either on the floor or, for a bit more height, to go a little bit deeper, onto a block if you're lucky enough to have a block, onto books if you're lucky enough to have books. The left forearm will rest on the left thigh. Now, we don't need to put too much effort into lifting the upper body. You kind of just want to hang out here, sinking into the joints, something we wouldn't do in a yang pose. And if you joined me yesterday, I probably told you to do the opposite. But we really want to stack the bones here in this right hand so that it's just hanging out here. There's no real effort in my arms or my upper body. The target area, if your left foot is forward and the right leg is behind you, is the right hip crease area, the hip flexor muscles. Where you might feel it is the hip crease of the left leg, and if so, walk the left foot out to the left, left or walk it forward or back. Have a play with what works for you, allowing the right hip crease to open. You might even feel it down the right quad. And then once you find it in this right quad, you'll think, oh yeah, that's it. Might take a few goes. You might even come onto the baby toe side of the left leg. Another thing you can do is adjust the position of the right hand. You might not have it directly under the shoulder, it might be out to the side, or the fingertips might point forward. And it's quite an intense stretch. It's one that really does affect most people. So for some of us, child's pose is very comfortable, like a 4 or 5 on the scale of from comfortable to discomfort. Lizard or dragon pose, most people will feel this about a 7 or an 8 quite quickly. If you're feeling it towards an 9 or a 10 where you cannot hold it without clenching muscles or squeezing the shoulders, back out a little. And then take a deep breath in, direct the breath towards that right hip flexor area. And then exhale, let it go. For some of you, it will feel nice to let the head go completely, and you'll get a secondary target area of the back of the neck and the upper back. Or you can keep the head just gently lifted with a little bit of activation through those neck muscles. And the reason a lot of us feel this one quite intensely is we spend lots of our life, or our day-to-day life, with these muscle or this muscle group in flexion, so shortened, like when you're sitting, even going for a run or a cycle. If you did a workout video yesterday and you were squatting. And not too often do we come into this big extension, this opening of these muscles. So when we're standing, they're just in neutral or laying down. And then we do a lot of shortening, but not so much lengthening. Take a deep breath in together. Exhale, release any tension in the face. And then very slowly, probably don't have an option here to move any quicker as your body will allow. Start to move out of your dragon pose. Slide the blocks away. And come to lay in rebound, and this should feel pretty good. And while you lay in rebound, tuning in. And not everyone feels everything. And sometimes you might notice a shift in energy, sometimes you might not. For me right now, as I lay here, my right leg feels a little longer than my left. and I have a tingling or a fizzing sensation in my feet. Moving however you need to move to make your way over to the other side. Making sure you have the cushion under the left knee this time. Right foot steps forward towards the right hand side of the mat, but up to you how far towards the right or how forward it comes. And then allow the left hip soften towards the earth. And you might need to adjust the placement of this right foot, or maybe the placement of the left hand to get into the left groin hip flexor area. Last little while here, releasing any tension that might have crept up into the face. Take a deep breath in, let it go, and then slowly make your way to your rebound. Hug the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little squeeze. And then place both feet on the floor. Knees are bent for twisted roots. Now, if you're very heavily pregnant, my pal Laura, I'm going to give you something different. So everyone else, twisted roots, Laura, I'll be with you in a second. Press the feet into the floor. Lift the hips. Place them back onto the floor, but just shift it over to the right slightly. And then lift the right foot off the mat. Wrap the right leg over the left knee. And you might also wrap at the ankles and then let the knees fall over to the left. And keep the shoulders melted towards the floor. And because you might have lots of room, no one beside you, you can reach the hands out to a T. If your apartment's a little smaller, cactus arms, whatever's comfortable with the arms here, looking for an opening through the thoracic spine or a twist through the thoracic spine. If a twist isn't going to work for you, mermaid pose is our second option. So sitting onto the mat with a few pillows, close to the left hip, knees point forward. And then you inhale, lift on over the pillows. Legs, however is comfortable, you might have them at a kind of crisscross, so you might stack one at the other, or you might have legs out in front or straight. And then the right arm wraps up and over. So here it's a nice opening through the right side body, getting length and space through the waist. And both postures are working the gallbladder, or stimulating, activating gallbladder meridian line, which runs down the side of the body, one on each side. This just might be a little bit nicer for pregnant people. Now if you're in a twist and you are feeling this more in the right glute, similar to sleeping swan, that's perfectly normal. We just hold a lot of tension in our hip area that it might just grab you there, the feeling, the opening. But that's not to mean we're not also getting this beautiful twist in the upper body. And if you're here with me in mermaid, feel a nice big opening through that right waist, right ribs. We're going to move into rebound. So slowly unraveling or lifting up, depends where you are. I'm coming to lay flat on the back. Probably a bit late to mention, but if you're pregnant and don't enjoy laying on the back anymore, child's pose for rebound. call you into twisted roots right now, if that's where you're going for the reclined twist. Soles of the feet on the floor, knees are bent. Lift the hips up off the mat and then place them back onto the mat, but an inch over to the left. And then the left knee wraps over the right. And you let the knees fall over to the right. Shoulders melt towards the floor. You might also wrap at the ankles. And if you're coming into mermaid, come on up to a seat. Bring the props with you. Right hip close to the pillows or the bolster. I personally prefer my legs in this Pilates mermaid position, but you might take the legs out long. And then inhale, open up through that right waist. Let the right waist fall onto the bolsters, giving you space through the left waist as you reach the left hand up and over. If it's too much up and over, rest the hand on the pillow, or you might take the hand overhead. And then slowly make your way back to rebound. Coming to lay flat on the floor or child's pose if that's not comfortable for you. From here, it can be nice to just melt deeper into Shavasana. If you feel like adjusting and staying a little bit longer, pillow underneath the knees can be quite comfortable, or if you're close to the wall, legs up against the wall. If you are pregnant, laying onto your left side and pillow between the legs, and also to wrap the arms around. So thank you for practicing with me this evening. It's prefer teaching for sure than teaching and practicing at the same time. Not sure if that really worked for me because I didn't get to go so deep, but I might do my own practice later. And hopefully I'll have a model for me next time just to better show the poses and explain how they should feel, and maybe different ways you can come into them if you're not quite finding that target area. Hope you have a great evening. It's super sunny here in Clare. I'm going to go for a little stroll down to the alpaca farm that's like 2 kilometers away from me and get some chicken eggs, not alpaca eggs, which is so random, but hey. Any questions at all, feel free to message me. Lots of people sign in. I don't have an idea though of how many people are actually doing the classes, so if you could tag me or comment or just let me know if you are enjoying the practices. It'd be cool to see how many people are sharing this experience together. And any requests for next week, let me know. And I'll see you on the mat tomorrow if you're joining for practice. Namaste.